Good morning, everybody. It is Man Coverage. This is Knoxville Nate and James Bonneville. Good morning to everybody. It is 11 a.m., 3/20/2022. We are here to discuss college football for you one more time. We have a little March Madness going on right now as well in college basketball. Not going to talk about that today. Because I'm still pissed off. You know, I didn't even care if Tennessee lost, but it was kind of who they lost to was my issue. But it's pretty good basketball being played. Mr. Bonneville, how are you doing this morning, sir?
It better be a crime.
I like it. We've got a very special guest coming on the show today, a Ohio State Buckeye running back legend, Mr. PEPE PEARSON, now a coach, running backs coach at Tennessee State University under the direction of one Mr. Eddie George. You may have heard of him, won the Heisman. In fact, PEPE took over for Eddie George at Ohio State as a running back. And, you know, replacing a legend, never easy. PEPE got it done. Junior season ran for over 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns. So this guy knows how to play football, knows how to run the ball, and knows how to coach it. So we're going to talk to him, get a little feedback from him about ball, current state of the game, their program, Tennessee State, what they've got going on there, dig into their culture a little bit, and get after it. So looking forward to talking to him. But the first thing we need to get into is, obviously, we've discussed ad nauseum on this show the NFL scouting combine. Some of the participants chose to not do certain things at the combine because they wanted to hit up their pro day. And the team that shall remain nameless that resides up north of here had their pro day a couple of days ago. What was it, Thursday?
Yep.
And one of the top two players ripped his Achilles. And, of course, I'm talking about David Ajabo, outside linebacker, number one rated outside linebacker in this draft. Unfortunately, rips his Achilles in his pro day. And, you know, I'm not a fan of this school or this program, but this kid is a great story and a hell of a football player. And I've got to be honest, I feel horrible for him. And, James, I want to ask you, what does this do to his draft stock? Because it certainly doesn't help it.
I think it would be hard pressed to see Ajabo get out of the top 10 just off his metrics alone. But now after this, I mean, it's funny. We always kept hearing the argument, well, he could get hurt in the bowl game.
Yep.
He got hurt working out with that one pad on.
Right.
And my heart goes out to him and his family because he just lost a lot of money here. But I keep saying it in my head that you're going to see a team like getting end of the first day. You're going to see somebody trade back up either end of the first day or beginning of the second day to go after him, because it kind of like Jalen Smith when he got hurt in the bowl game against when Notre Dame played against Ohio State, and Dallas came back up early second round. I think got him like first or second pick in the second round. You can't let talent like that go by too far, and somebody's going to make a move to go after that and just sit and wait on him and see how that transpires. Now, it'll be interesting. I mean, what are your thoughts, Nate?
You don't think he drops out of the top 10?
Oh, no, he'll drop out of the top 10. Absolutely.
I thought that's what you said. I thought you said he's not making it out of the top 10.
No, I say he's not. I say I don't think he makes it out of, I thought maybe the end of the first day he could get drafted, if not early the second day. This is very similar to Jalen Smith.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Now, this guy's more of a pass rusher.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, maybe beginning of the second round, honestly, is probably as far as he goes because, we saw Cam Akers come back last year for the LA Rams, tore his Achilles in fall camp and training camp, and he was back playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, it's still a very serious and severe injury, but not as crazy as it used to be. So, and this guy, like I said, it's a pass rusher. This league puts a premium on pass rushers. I think that I think he'll be back. I think he'll probably miss some time, obviously, in his rookie season. May not contribute a whole lot year one, but if you can get a pass rusher on a rookie contract in the second, third round, you're doing pretty good for yourself. So I don't think he falls out of the second round, in my opinion.
The hard part I have with this is there are so many edge rushers around in this draft. Does this, I mean, it's simple supply and demand issue. Does that hurt him just in that fact? I don't know as of yet. I mean, I can tell you this. I think every team under the sun is going to keep very quiet until draft day of their true intentions. No one's going to even sniff. If not, they're going to talk him down like he could be drafted, middle of third day. He will get drafted, and I still say he doesn't leave the second day. But yeah, I mean, I still see it end of the first day because you get that 5 years on that contract, and by year 2, he could be back to full strength, and you got him for pennies on the dollar.
Right. Yeah, that's my point. Is you're getting a pass rusher on a rookie deal who is not going to be even a first round. I'm probably not going to be a first round type of contract. So, I think that his value is not hurt that bad. Now, obviously, like I said, it's still a pretty significant injury. It's something that's going to drop him way further down than he would have gone. I projected him as a top 15 pick to start this all off. I mean, yeah. I really did. But I don't see that happening anymore. Do you?
No, I don't. I think that's completely out the window. I mean, just there's so much depth at that position to begin with. I mean, you could get a good quality edge rusher in the third or fourth round in this draft.
It's a true story. Not the most marquee quarterback draft that we've got going on right here, but we do have a lot of pretty good pass rushers. We've got some good linemen. We've got some good linebackers. We've got some good players, good depth at wide receiver. We're going to get into the draft today, actually. We're going to talk about that quite a bit. But I did want to hit on Ajabo because, as you mentioned, these guys, sit out the bowl game because they don't want to get injured. But you can you can die driving home from working out at the gym, getting in a car wreck. So there's risk in everything that everyone does. And I just feel bad for this kid.
Hey, you look back at Jeff Kent. I mean, when he played for the Giants, he got hurt, working on his truck. I mean, granted, it was a complete lie, but, the old second baseman for the Giants got hurt doing something else. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, heck, look back at Moises Alou rounding second base and his knee crumbles right in front of him. I mean, it's crazy. So I just hope he recovers quickly and has a strong professional career.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't know if you heard the news that came out about 2 days ago, but the transfer portal is still going strong. The transfer portal, as we mentioned, is never going to really die down. And, the spring practice will dictate what a lot of guys do. And there will be some transfers after that. But I have to admit, I was a little shocked. I believe it was on Friday when I heard the news out of Gainesville. And that is that Emory Jones is decided to leave. Now, he was in the portal. He pulled out of it. And now he's going back in it. So I'm real confused as to what the hell's going on here. And, I thought it was actually a good idea for him to stay. We talked about it on our show a week ago about the quarterback battles going on. Obviously, they have Richardson. They've got Jack Miller, who transferred from Ohio State. But I kind of pegged Emory Jones to have a good shot of winning this job. Why is he leaving now?
I actually predicted this last week. I thought it was going to happen after spring ball. I think they already rolling the dice with Richardson. I mean, I'm already seeing people, the hype on Richardson is so large that you're seeing people putting him in the top 3 picks in the 2023 draft. Now, I mean, I wouldn't mind him actually seeing him play an entire game first before we start mapping out his Hall of Fame career and measuring him for his jacket. But I honestly, if I'm Emory Jones, I think this is a good move. The question now becomes where to go. I think there's a couple really interesting landing spots, and it's kind of the same way of JT Daniels putting his landing spots out there too as well. Schools like Oregon State, West Virginia, and the third one is escaping me as we speak. Oh, Texas Tech is keep coming up. I think no, not Texas Tech. It's bear with me here, but I mean you could see those type of there's going to be more opportunity, come springtime where even if you're coming out of spring ball and you think you're the guy, you may not be the guy. Oh, it's Missouri. It's Missouri with the Alpha Nerd coaching. So honestly, if I'm Emory Jones, I don't think I'd want to go to Missouri. I would look somewhere. West Virginia actually makes a lot of sense, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I like West Virginia. Actually, Missouri, I think, isn't a bad spot because he could compete for that job right away. So I don't really have a problem with Missouri either. And then I've also heard I've heard Arizona State thrown in the mix after Jaden Daniels.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
They're looking for a quarterback right now. I know that they've been linked to Emory Jones in the past couple of months, just with their need at quarterback since they kind of knew that Daniels was out of there, and since Emory Jones has already predicted that he was going to leave prior to talking to Coach Napier and him getting him to agree to stay through the spring. Well, that didn't last long because now he's gone.
The one thing that keeps boggling my mind is how everybody's looking at the Power 5 jobs for quarterback transfers right now. But there's a lot of Group of 5 jobs, i.e. a program that really has not been a traditionally good program in the Akron Zips. I mean, Joe Moorhead has done traditionally really well with quarterbacks, even under the most, pedestrian of systems. And an Emory Jones in Akron would really be intriguing. I mean, granted, people in the South probably don't even know the MAC really even exists, but man, there is some real possibilities there because that could be interesting, putting him up in that system and getting back to the old MAC days.
Yeah, he's been linked to Akron. He's also been linked to North Texas, Arkansas State, and Rice. So, we'll keep an eye on this one. Obviously, Emory Jones, JT Daniels, those are the two biggest names in the portal as we speak.
And that will grow. There's
Florida is still, trying to figure out what they're doing because Anthony Richardson, their quarterback who's competing for the starting job, probably going to win it. He's recovering from off-season knee surgery. So you got him, Anthony Richardson, trying to come back from knee surgery. You've got Jack Miller, the transfer from Ohio State. You've got Carlos Del Rio Wilson. You've got Jalen Kitna. They got a lot of guys in the mix there, and it should be interesting to keep an eye on that quarterback race down in Gainesville. So we'll see what happens. Let's talk real quick here. We got some time. I want to dive into our top 5 draft picks. 5 guys that I think are going to do well in the NFL draft and do well in the NFL as rookies. Just some dudes that we've identified across the board. Maybe not the top 5 guys that are going to be taken, but the top 5 guys that we like and think are going to get, some solid playing time as rookies and guys that we think are going to transition well to the league. I'm going to let you go first, Mr. Bonneville, and give me who you got on your list.
Zion Johnson, Boston College guard. I have been talking about this guy forever. Transferred up from Davidson to Boston College. He just looks better and better every day. Honestly, I see great things with this guy. I mean, it's an interior lineman position. It's not glamorous, but this kid's just a mauler. I'm a big fan. I could see a lot of places. I mean, heck, when I first started watching this kid, I kept seeing 4th and 5th round potential. And I actually saw a mock draft where he went in the top 5.
Yeah.
And I was kind of blown away that that people are seeing that. I mean, a perfect spot for him, no matter what round it would be the Giants. I think they've needed some help on that interior offensive line. I think he would be a fantastic pick. I think the kid you could tell this kid plays with a lot of heart, and I like watching this kid play. So, Nate, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this draft I think is pretty solid on offensive linemen, and I think he is probably one of the best interior guys. I like the center out of Iowa. It's probably my number one interior lineman.
Yeah, Lindbaum. Yeah, absolutely.
Lindbaum is definitely probably my number one, but this guy's a close number two probably as far as getting somebody on the interior three spots.
It's funny you mentioned Lindbaum. There are two videos that come across, and I know they're going to both show them on draft day. One is there was a play he ran against, I believe, Iowa State, where he was running he was doing a kick out, and they were doing a sweep, and he was leading the sweep from the center position, and he was screaming down the line so fast you would swear he was a running back. I mean, it was crazy how fast he got down the line. The speed he has for his size is just amazing. And then the next video is him against Tristan Wirfs, the first round draft pick, I think fourth pick in the draft last year or 2 years ago by the Tampa Bay Bucks, where they wrestled in high school, and Lindbaum won. And Wirfs is no small fella.
He's a freak.
I mean, I think people don't understand how good Lindbaum truly is. And I agree with you 100%. And I'm a Gopher fan. And I mean, how often do you see a center dictate the offense? And that's what he did. I mean, for Iowa last year, there was nothing else really besides him and Goodson. Not much there.
Yeah. Who else you got?
I keep coming back to Derek Stingley. You look at the COVID year, he did not look good, but granted, Bo Pelini was running a lot of zone coverage, more man down the end, but people were so down on the defense, they stopped talking about him. And quite frankly, in 21, he didn't look that great either. But in 19, many people thought he was the best player on that team that won the national championship as a true freshman. Yeah. I still think that ability is there. Your longtime fans are going to know about it. Now, the question, where does he go? The $6 million question. I think he can go anywhere between 5 and 20, but the speed's there, the talent's there, the hip explosion is unmistakable. It's remarkable how it is. I think this kid, not only is going to get drafted well, I could see him being in the Pro Bowl within the first 2 years.
I could agree with you. I think this guy is probably the most talented defensive back in this draft, in my opinion. And the reason for the pause there was I was watching the video of David Ajabo's injury, and I don't know, it was really weird. Somebody, a guy, Bucky Brooks, I don't know if you know him, but he tweeted out that he was kind of concerned with the NFL's cold business attitude.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's all these scouts and coaches standing around, and they're just kind of like, get this guy out of the way, and didn't seem to care that dude was injured. I just don't think anybody realized how severe it was.
True.
You had a no-contact drill going on, and a guy rips his Achilles. So,
only that, I mean, you've got other guys there, and they see that kind of injury that they start thinking, could this happen to me, and do they lay off on something like that, where you just keep going through the motions and see what happens from, let guys get their best thing out, and we'll deal with him later on. But I agree with you. When I saw the video, it kind of turned my stomach as well.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think anybody realized how bad he was hurt, in my opinion. So I'm going to give those people a little bit of a break, because I don't think they realized that his Achilles ripped. But who I like Stingley. Who else you got?
Charles Cross. The Mississippi State offensive tackle. I think, you're going to need a very pass-heavy team, but you look at his metrics and how he shapes up, he's very good. I mean, he's my
number one. He was my number one guy to talk about. So that's why you're seeing him on the screen right now.
I like him a lot. I mean, granted, he doesn't fit all systems. He like a very pass-first offense. I think he would fit with like a Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers there, Grandpa Rodgers. There's a lot of places where he could fit where they're that pass heavy, but if they're very run heavy, I would probably take a pass on him. I mean, what are your thoughts?
He's my favorite tackle in the draft, in my opinion. I just like his bend. I like the way he moves.
Yeah.
I like him. I mean, let's be honest, man. The NFL is a passing league now.
Oh, completely.
So almost every team is lighting it up, throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game. This guy, is he the best run blocker in this draft? Maybe not.
No.
But I think he is the best pass blocking left tackle in this draft. And I just like the way he moves. I like his bend. I like his arms. I just like everything about him. And he's my favorite left tackle in this draft. If I was picking a left tackle, he would be the guy I would take.
The guy I would probably go next is the guy who I think is the most complete left tackle. And they're very similar. And you know where I'm going with this, is Ike Ekwonu from North Carolina State. His run blocking is phenomenal. There's one highlight I've seen time and time again where he's downfield, 30 yards downfield, and he is still picking that guy up. I mean, he's outrunning his running back. Quite frankly, there's similarities between him and Charles Cross are unparalleled. Cross is better at pass protection. Iguano's better at run. Both, quite frankly, shouldn't get beyond picks number 7, to tell you the truth. I think, quite frankly, I think you're going to see some trade ups to see that happen.
Yeah. Who else you got?
Somebody who just intrigues me as a whole here. Give me a second. Get back to my notes. Bear with me here. Jordan Davis. Oh, no, take that back. Let's talk about Sauce Gardner. Kind of in the Derek Stingley mold, except he's got more recency bias with us right now. People have seen him more, and he's still never given up a touchdown pass, and he's making that well known. He's got the size. He's got the speed. I want to look back at his recruitment because just his metrics alone, I'm shocked that somebody didn't get him, like a bigger Power 5 school, or he just bought into what Coach Fickle was doing down in Cincy. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think he's one of the top corners in this draft. I like Stingley a little bit better, just total skills, ball skills, ability, athletic ability as a defensive back as a whole. I just think Stingley's got a little bit higher of an upside, a little bit higher of a ceiling, but
Agreed.
I don't think you can go wrong with Sauce either. He proved being on the field, playing as many games as he did, that he's an NFL prospect and a guy that could get on the field as a rookie, in my opinion. Maybe not starting at the outside position, but potentially being a slot cover guy, nickel corner. I think you could get him on the field in year one.
The one thing I like about Gardner more than Stingley is he's better at the point of attack. Like, he can come up and play press and beat up a receiver on the line of scrimmage much better than Stingley could. It's not like Stingley's bad. It's just Sauce Gardner's really good at it. And he comes out of his breaks pretty well. So,
yeah, I agree. So I like it. I like all your guys. I think, is that 5? I believe that's
I got 5.
All right, great. Let's run through. We're running out of time, but let's run through my guys real quick, as I've got 4 because we already talked about Charles Cross. He was my number 1. I like him. I think he's a good, solid player. But I do want to talk about my favorite wide receiver in this draft. Obviously, I love Chris Olave. He's a great player, all-time leading touchdown guy at Ohio State, hell of a wideout. But for some reason, I got Garrett Wilson ahead of him. I just look back at the game that Garrett Wilson missed, and it was like our offense wasn't as good. The Buckeyes just didn't seem as explosive. They didn't have that go-to guy on third down. I don't know. This guy's just a matchup nightmare. I've never seen anybody that can cover him and stay with him. I mean, look right there. He's covered, still caught the ball. He's just a total freak as far as his running ability, his route running ability, his ball skills, his football IQ. I don't know. This is a guy, if I had needed a receiver and I was picking in the first round of the draft, this is who I take. What do you think?
I honestly, I look at him as the best receiver in this draft, honestly.
Thank you. That's what
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's a weird draft because it's so deep at receiver, and he's really good, but he's not a freak. He doesn't have like that sub 4.3 speed. He just does everything. He has no holes in his game. He's really good route runner, really good pass catcher, gets off the line of scrimmage well. I mean, he's got it all.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't. He doesn't have that one thing that just oh my god, he just kind of blows your mind.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's definitely my favorite receiver. And honestly, my favorite running back is this guy. I know the Buckeyes kind of shut him down, but other than that game, I didn't really see anybody slow down Kenneth Walker III. I know he transferred in. He only played at Michigan State for 1 year, but wow, what a year. I mean, This guy catapulted this whole team. And let's be honest, it wasn't their quarterback that made Michigan State a contender in the Big Ten and a premier program in college football. Was this guy. He was just unstoppable. And there was a lot of times where everybody knew, like on this play, he was getting the ball. He did get the ball, and they still couldn't stop him. So this is my favorite running back in the draft. I also loved him at the combine. He participated in every drill, every event. He ran an unbelievable time. I liked his short shuttle. I liked his 3-cone. There's nothing I don't like about this guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I see him going middle second round, maybe early third, but I agree with you a lot. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out the comp on him, on who I can't figure it out. I mean, maybe ETN, but ETN was more like longer and had a longer stride.
This guy's a little thicker than ETN.
Yeah, he is, especially from the hips down. He's really his leg strength is just it's underrated in many ways.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about him is he's not the greatest receiver out of the backfield.
Yes,
but
yes.
I think that's something he can improve on, and I think that's something he'll get better at. But look at this. I mean, this is tackled 4 yards deep in the backfield.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He turns a play where he should have been a -4 into like a 25-yard gain. So that's what I like about him. He's definitely my favorite running back in this draft, and a guy that I think can start day one. I'm going to go to my 2 favorite linebackers in this draft, and one of them is Devin Lloyd out of Utah. Todd McShay's got him as the number 11 overall prospect. I don't know if I've got him that high, but I definitely think if you need a linebacker, this guy is who you want. I mean, you see him here. He's good in the run game. He's decent in coverage. I mean, there's not much this guy can't do, and he brings the wood with him when he comes. I mean, he's a thumper, and that's what I like about him. I mean, I watched him in the Rose Bowl, and he was causing Ohio State all kinds of problems in the first half. He can make splash plays and get interceptions and cause fumbles, and then he can also just tear you up. Like, I mean, look here. You could jump up, block down passes. There's nothing he can't do. I mean, intercepts it, scores a touchdown. This guy's a playmaker, and I think a real reason why Utah had the season they did.
It's funny watching him because the Rose Bowl kind of like he shot off the page for me at the Rose Bowl, and that he is the prototypical Kyle Whittingham kid. He just has that lunch pail, hard hat mentality, and it's absolutely now combine that with great metrics. I mean, the combine did him a lot of good. He is going to make he made a lot of money over that weekend.
Yeah, I agree. He was pretty solid. And the last guy that I've got here is going to be linebacker. You may have heard of him. I said 2 linebackers. The second one is the kid out of Alabama, and that's Christian Harris, another dude that I think really tore it up at the combine. Just ran a lot faster than I thought he would. And short shuttle, 3-cone, all those were really good times. He proved he was strong on the bench. This is a dude that I really thought was the bright spot of Alabama's defense this year, which at times, was criticized. I didn't have any criticism of him. I think he's a great all-around player, good tackler, can do pretty well in coverage, but also, great against the run. What do you think about Harris?
Christian Harris, I actually – I'm more amazed about the transition this young man took from the time he was in high school to the time he now finishes in the draft. He was originally a cornerback his senior year of high school at University Lab in Baton Rouge. And to transition that to be a linebacker that quickly and put on that much weight, because he had to play quickly, because remember, that was the year that Alabama had a lot of injuries. So he probably put on 40, 50 pounds of weight, probably within a 6-month time frame. So, I mean, that's a testament to Pete Golding, their DC there, as well as that strength and conditioning program, which is, everybody still talks about to this day, that they were able to keep him, bring him up that much, but still not lose any speed in the process. And look where we're at today. He's being talked about in the draft. And I agree with you. I mean, not only does he have great instincts going downhill, but it's his pass protection instincts as well. I mean, you can keep him on the field all 3 downs.
Yeah, I actually think I may like him a little bit more than Lloyd, but I don't know.
I agree. I agree with you.
I like Lloyd a lot, but I the more I think about it, the more I think this guy's might be the answer. And I think one of the best linebackers and one of the best players in all of college football. And, just another one in the great line of Alabama LBs. So,
yeah,
like Christian Harris, we are going to keep going and talking about the draft quite a bit as we move along. But right now, we've got our guest is going to join us. Not very often that you get to talk to a legend. So I'm going to pop him on right now, see if you can hear us. Coach, you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great. How about you?
We're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you've been up early this morning getting back home. So I hope you had a good day yesterday in Columbus.
Yeah, it was a great day. Got a chance to do an autograph signing up there and be with some former great running backs from Ohio State. So definitely a great time, but good to be back.
Nice. Yeah, I hope you got to catch up with some of your old boys and get to hang out a little bit back at C-Bus.
Oh, yeah. You had the likes of Butler Binote, Vince Workman, some legends, Carlos Snow. You had Carlos Hyde there, myself, and, a few others. So it was a nice show.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys had a good time. It looked like a pretty good group of legends getting together. We've been talking a little college football today, breaking down, the off season. We've been doing, pro days. We've been doing the combine action. And I know you guys are getting ready at Tennessee State to do a little spring ball. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We've started up. We've already had 3 practices. So, and we're excited about what we've seen so far. So, coming in last year in May, we came in on the back end of what spring ball was supposed to be. So we really didn't get a chance to have a spring ball, but it's just refreshing to be able to do that and implement everything that Coach George and his vision wants. And it's really been good. It's been a good 3 days.
Coach, James Bonneville here. Hey, tell me a little bit about your recruiting process coming from, Euclid, going to Ohio State. Like, who else were you looking at? And plus, during your high school process, was there a lot of pressure on you to stay in the home state and play for Ohio State during that time period?
You know what? Things were back in the 90s, things were a little bit different as far as the recruiting process goes. We didn't necessarily have the 247s and the 5-stars and 4-star type of thing. I know if you were a college coach at the time, you would probably find a diamond in the rough like myself. But as far as the recruiting process went for me, I was getting recruited by pretty much every big school in the nation and the country. And what I wanted to do was to narrow it down to a Midwest team. So I knew I wanted to play tough, hard-nosed, run the ball type of football. So I knew that type of football was in the Midwest. So before the process even started, I got rid of the Florida States, the Floridas, the Southern USCs, everybody out west. And I said, I'm either going to go to a Notre Dame type school, Ohio State, a Big Ten type school, but those are the types of schools I wanted to go to. So from there, I got recruited by the Penn States, the Notre Dames, all the Syracuse at the time even. I was getting recruited by the Western schools, and it kind of took off from there. So,
Nice.
but the whole process was much different. You didn't have as many camps to go to for exposure. So the coaches back in the day, I give them credit. They had to do their due diligence in regards to finding talent. So
yeah, no doubt, Coach. And it's a lot. It seems like it's a lot, easier to find the kids these days because there is the more exposure. There's the 7-on-7. There's the camps at the regional camps. There's the national camps. There's so much more access to video, but obviously the competition to get these kids is so much, so much rougher, and you've got so many more people coming at them. Just tell us a little bit about, how you guys handle that now at TSU and what your goals are when you're going out and starting your recruiting process.
Well, for us at TSU, right now we're just trying to make sure everybody who comes to TSU or who wants to be a part of our program buys into what Coach George's vision is. And, aesthetically, we might not look the same as other schools, but as far as everything else in the program, being able to play a top brand of football in a great conference, being able to get a great education from a great accredited university, all of those things we're trying to make sure people understand when we recruit them to our university. So, we want them to buy into the vision and understand that we're going to continue to grow and expand facilities, things like that. But we want to develop a culture that wants to come here, work on and off the field, and work for what we get and get the wins that way.
Coach, you've had a lot of influences throughout your entire life from, not only, playing for John Cooper at Ohio State, but the players you had in your locker room, which one of them you're working with today, but to Bo Pelini during your time at Youngstown State, Doc Holliday. Who was the biggest who are the biggest influencers on you to not only who you were as a player, but now looking as a coach, directing those young men be not only good on the field, but good later on in life too, as well?
Well, as a player, you couldn't get any better person as a leader and a teammate than Eddie George. So, I got to see firsthand every day the way he came to work. His work ethic influenced me, the way he approached the game on and off the field. So that was something that a lot of people aren't privy to that I got a chance to experience. So the respect that I have for Eddie, not only as a player and then now as a coach, is off the charts. Regarding being a coach, I started my career in an NAI institution, Ohio Dominican, with Coach Dale Carlson. He kind of showed me how to organize as a head coach, how to be organized and organize practice, things like that. I also learned that from head coach Bill Connolly, who once we transitioned to Division II at Ohio Dominican, I learned that from him. Bill Connolly was the recruiting coordinator at Ohio State for a bunch of years. In those the years of the 90s, we had some of the best teams around. So he was responsible for that. And then going to a school like Youngstown State with Bo, I was there for a quick stint. Yeah. But then getting the opportunity at Marshall, and Marshall is where I really believe that I came into my own as a coach, because there were a lot of different. Marshall's a different place. There are a lot of different things that you had to go through as a coach that I believe helped me grow as a coach, become a better coach for what I am right now. So it just goes full circle. Now I'm at TSU with Eddie, who I respect. Again, going back to our relationship and everything I learned from him, and now we can put that all together. My experience helping him, do his best as a head coach. So it's really just a great situation to be in at this point.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. And you talked a lot earlier about, Coach George's vision. And, obviously he's got a tremendous staff that he's assembled. Me and James were talking about that off air. He's got a lot of guys that have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. What is Coach George's kind of vision for this program? And what are the goals that you guys have as you move forward in year 2?
Well, his vision includes giving our student athletes the best situation to succeed in. So he's trying to make sure that we have the facilities, we have the meals, we have everything set up. So all they have to do is go out and do a great job in the classroom, and then go out and do a great job on the field. So we're trying to get things. So we just got a new weight room, for instance.
Nice.
The kids are going to love that. They love that. We're having an addition of coaches' offices attached to our indoor. So those are all things that are being put in place to help, lead Coach's vision. He just wants our guys to be in a situation where they can succeed.
Yeah.
And that's on and off the field. So helping to provide them with opportunities off the field, entrepreneurship. Those are some of the things that he talks about. So with everything he's done, being on Broadway, being, doing a few movies, et cetera, et cetera, with all the contacts that we have as a staff, it's our job to kind of use those contacts and those things that we have in our lives to help our student athletes. And I think that's what he's trying to do. And so he's assembled this staff, like you said, of guys who's played in the NFL. They've been there, they've done that. And, now we can provide that help on and off the field truly for our student athletes. And it's a win-win for both.
Definitely.
Do you feel like things are more relaxed now? I mean, last year it was probably just rushing, getting everything put together, getting on the field. Now you guys have more time to really develop on culture and long-term goals and solutions, especially, going to the spring ball and now getting ready for Grambling State in the fall.
Well, I wouldn't say things are more relaxed. Again, I'll say it's great to have the opportunity to have a spring ball so that you can get your offense installed, your defenses, and now everybody's more comfortable going into the season. But being comfortable is something that is far removed from what we're trying to preach at this time.
Sure.
We're currently just trying to make sure our guys, are able to play fast. Everything we do is fast. Running onto the field is fast. There's a sense of urgency with every aspect of our program, and that's what Coach George is trying to push forward.
Yeah, you're right. I was just thinking you guys had more time, and relax is probably the worst word I could probably use right there. So
There's nothing relaxing about football.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even between whistles, between not workouts, but drills. That's you're sprinting from one part to the next. There's nothing relaxed about it. So.
Oh yeah, but it is it feels refreshing to be able to spend more time teaching in the classroom our athletes. That's the biggest piece right there. So we can be more detailed in the classroom with them, so that they really know what they're doing come fall time.
Nice. And Coach, I wanted to ask you about something we've talked a lot about on this show, and that's obviously, the new rules with the transfers and being allowed to, move around and go to different places. And I just wanted to get a feel for, how you guys are approaching that, and have you, looked to the portal to bring in some guys to maybe fill some holes that you may have in certain position groups.
Well, yeah, Coach George's thing is, we want to be a 40-40-20 team. We want to look at what's in the portal, and if they fit what we're trying to do here, obviously we're going to vet the situation and see if that's the best fit for us, which we've done. We've gotten a few guys out of the portal that you'll see this fall that will probably surprise you. That they come from bigger schools, etc. But Coach George also wants to develop some of the core talent that we have from in-state as well right now. He wants to be able to develop those guys over time as well. And then our recruits that we just recently brought in November, those are guys that we feel that can, we can expedite the situation. And those are guys that can come in and help us right away. We feel that way. So, it's a process. And Coach George has the plan, but it's a process, and we're just trying to, as a coaching staff, we're trying to execute that plan, and I think we're going in the right direction.
What's your school's recruiting footprint right now, as far as high school talent?
Well, as far as high school talent, obviously we want to make sure we have our hand on the western part of Tennessee, middle and east. All right, so that's first and foremost. So I know we've gotten out and we've talked to some coaches, et cetera, in all parts of Tennessee. So that's first and foremost what we like to focus on. We go up to Ohio, Indiana. We go over out east to the DC area. That's a big area for us, Virginia's. We also go down to Florida. We have North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia as well. So, we kind of our footprint is in that Midwest kind of area. And we try to get the athletes from Florida, Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee, obviously. But, we feel like with those areas of recruiting, we can bring in the talent that we need to succeed here.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell James, man, the East Tennessee's gotten a lot better. When I was coming up, Knoxville, Tri-Cities area, it wasn't on par with the mid-state, Nashville, Murfreesboro, and of course not even close to Memphis. But the talent around East Tennessee has improved a lot, in my opinion. Just what do you think, Coach? Do you think it's gotten better over here in the east side of Tennessee?
Well, I know one thing. Us getting out this past fall, getting out to some games, seeing some high school players from this area, out east and out west, we certainly came back as a staff and said, hey, we can win with the talent here. If we didn't go anywhere else, we can win with talent right here in Tennessee. But there's definitely enough talent. There's definitely enough of talent to go that we need for any position on our team. They have the quarterbacks in Tennessee. They have the skill players in Tennessee, and they have the O linemen and D linemen in Tennessee. So we really don't have to go outside of the state, but we do that because we want to compete with everybody. We do have to go out of state because we want to compete at a high level.
What do you think your biggest selling point is to parents, to kids, for them to come to Tennessee State? Because I can only imagine you've got like a whole quiver of arrows sitting in your back pocket. What do you think your biggest asset is to sell to bring kids to school there?
Well, it's really the culture, the coaching staff, and the city. All right. So the city of Nashville, selling that to a kid is easy. You look at everything that you can possibly do in the city of Nashville. I mean, downtown is great. If you want to go downtown and just walk around, you want to be a part of something, you can go downtown. You can get done whatever you need to do right here in the city. And that's a selling point. The coaching staff, with all of the experience of guys that's been in the NFL, myself, Coach George, Coach Fish, who's coached in the NFL, and his staff, Joe Bowden, who played in the NFL with Coach George, and Clyde Simmons, who's played with the Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles. So the coach, just selling the coaches and what they've done as well. You're not going to get any better technical coaching from anybody in the country. So that's also a selling point. And then just the experience at the university with the culture, being at an HBCU, and the culture that Coach George is trying to implement here. I mean, that normally is a great selling point to all the guys we bring in, and if they buy into it, then the rest is history. We're going to rise real quickly.
Yeah, no doubt, Coach. Well, we wish you the best of luck, Coach. We love what you've been doing. Well, you got another question?
I got one more question. I was looking at your wrong schedule, Coach. I didn't realize you are kicking off out in Cheney against Eastern Washington.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to have sunglasses on for the glare that comes off that red red turf they have?
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, that's I think I first saw that field when I was coaching in Division II, and one of the teams we were playing we were kind of looking at the film, and I said, "Wow, I've never seen that before." A red football field. I know you got Boise with the blue, but the red is something very different. And so that'll be an experience for us all when we go out there.
Oh, completely. I mean, it's so hard to watch on TV because it's just so bright. I mean,
right.
I can't even imagine like playing in that, or even at like Central Arkansas that's got that gray and purple like back and forth. I mean, at least there's some transition to it, but I'm like,
it's odd. It's odd, but it doesn't take away from the team they got out there. They got a really good team. They got a really good fan base. They got history. So we got to get our guys ready to go play that game, and we're excited to do it. So it's going to be a fun time, experience.
Well, we'll have to try and get over and come see you, Coach. I've been following you. I grew up here in Tennessee, and I played at Knoxville Catholic High School here in Knoxville. But my family's originally from Ohio, so I went up and played at Ohio Wesleyan, which is Division III up in Delaware, and now I'm back down in Tennessee. So I've been following you around a little bit, but we'll have to come over and try and get to a game this year and check you guys out because we're real excited about what you're doing at Tennessee State.
Absolutely, anytime, just let me know.
All right, Coach. Good luck to you, and thank you so much. I know you've been busy and had a rough weekend, so I appreciate you taking the time to come on today and give us a few minutes.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks.
All right, Coach. Have a good one, and thank you again, man. We appreciate you so much.
You too. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right,
you too now.
Wow, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like I know a lot more about that program and know a lot more about what to do to build a program. Coach has been around. Like you mentioned in your questions, I've really liked how you ask him about, the guys that he's been around and the guys that have kind of molded him. And, he's been in a lot of different places with the Ohio Dominican and Marshall and Youngstown State and now at Tennessee State with Eddie. But he's got a lot of a good background to add to the mix and add to what Coach George is trying to do there in Nashville.
And I knew he was going to come out with his first comment on Coach George because let's be honest, that's, why he's there today too as well. I mean, obviously Eddie had a very large presence in that locker room, not only what he did on the field, but you could just tell what he did off the field during interviews and all of his work that he did, prior to coaching. I mean, the guy's just naturally got an incredibly large presence and he draws people to him. And I can only imagine his work ethic because, look at those Ohio State teams during his time there. They were phenomenal. And, Coach Pearson kept that tradition going after Eddie left to go play for Tennessee.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, Eddie's that kind of larger than life guy.
Yeah.
Who, not only was one of the greatest college football players of all time, but he was that guy that, just was so personable. And everybody you kind of felt like you knew him. And that you were buddies with him just because he was such a nice guy, off the field. You watch him play and you're like, gosh, that guy's a bruiser. He's a warrior out there on the football field. But off of it, he's kind of a gentle giant who, has been very successful in everything he's done, whether it be in the NFL, whether it be the businesses that he owns and runs throughout Columbus and Nashville. And also now I think he's going to be a successful coach. He's certainly building a great staff with Coach Pearson.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, he's one of those guys that I think a lot of people should look at because he's not willing to he's willing to try anything. He's willing to be how vulnerable can you be to going from being a football player to being doing commentary to acting, completely outside his scope. And he was willing to be vulnerable and make that happen. And I mean, it's a testament to what he's done even today with Tennessee State. And he's going to get that program humming really quickly.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I can see Tennessee State, taking that next step this year, because as Coach Pearson mentioned, last year they didn't come in till May, and spring ball was already, a wrap. They kind of were trying to fill holes with their roster and get as many guys as they could into the program and keep some of the people to stay there. And so I think, when you were talking about relax, I know you didn't like that word, but I think what you were meaning, and what I knew you were meaning, was it's a lot different this year than it was
completely.
last year.
I mean, everything had to be a sprint last year because trying to install, like, you're rushing to get ready for the game. And now you get time to think about what you've done and be more methodical.
Well, and just the human aspect of it.
Exactly.
These guys have lived there now. You have
Yeah.
your home, you have your family in place, your kids. If you have kids there, you've got them enrolled in the school. There's so much that comes with, starting at a new program and bringing in a whole new coaching staff with their families and everything like that, getting settled, and then, taking on the task at hand, which is building the program. So I knew where you were going with that,
Yeah.
what you meant. Which I think he did too, but they are definitely have a better foundation to build off of here in year two, and I like what these guys are doing. Eddie, Coach Pearson, Eddie, these guys, they could coach anywhere they want. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, Coach Pearson's been a running backs coach now for 15 years, and he could go coach in the NFL. He could coach in any Power 5 D1 school he wants to. And Eddie could too, Eddie could go to the NFL if he wants to, but these guys want to build these programs and help these HBCUs get back to where, they once were, or build them to a new place where they could be. And I respect them for that. And I think they're going to change a lot of, the programs that they're at.
And you're seeing it already in recruiting. I mean,
Yeah.
Automatically right now, you're already seeing it. I think that's only going to grow. It's funny. I was looking at their schedule because they haven't put out their entire Ohio Valley schedule yet. That Middle Tennessee State game in Murfreesboro on September 17th.
Yeah.
You're talking about two schools that are within an hour of one another. I mean, that could be a sellout game where it could be pretty wild.
Yeah, that might be a fun one to go to. That definitely would be, I think, a good barometer of, where they're at as a program. I mean, MTSU's been a pretty good football program now for a while. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of where TSU is and whether they can hang with them and, put something on them. And just to, kind of talk about some of the kind of talent they're getting. TSU recruited a kid out of Oakland, which is one of the best programs in Murfreesboro, Dylan King, who's a safety, 6'3", 190. He was a 3/4-star guy, who's one of the top 50 players in the state of Tennessee, who could have gone anywhere, and he chose TSU. So these are kind of some of the kids that, they may not have gotten a few years ago, that now Coach Pearson and Coach George are pulling and adding into the fold for the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, they're building that foundation. You could just see it right now. I mean, the Ohio Valley is traditionally a pretty strong conference. And, I mean, you got Eastern Illinois, who's always been there. We know of a few quarterbacks that have gone through there that have played in the NFL. Murray State. It's going to be fun to watch and see how this transpires. But I'm just really glad he got a chance to sit there and talk to us about not only who they are today, but what their culture is moving forward for the program.
Yeah, no, I liked hearing about their vision and kind of what their goals are. But they, as he mentioned, they signed a kid, Dylan Villiers, who is an athlete out of Lakeland, Florida. They signed a linebacker, Micah Gray, who is out of Alpharetta, Georgia. And then they signed another linebacker, Logan McGraw, who is a pretty good player out of Michigan. So as he mentioned, they're going all over the place, and they're going after guys from all over. They signed one of their top recruits ever was an offensive guard that they signed a year or two ago, Jovins Janvier, who is 6'5", 350, and is one of the top players they've ever signed in their program. And they've got, if you look in their history of their recruiting, 3 of their top 4 guys, actually 4 of their top 5 guys, have been added to the program since 2019. So they're really getting up there in recruiting and starting to build, their base, their football program base from guys from all over the country and from all walks of life. So I got to give this program credit. I think they're heading in the right direction. And I think with Coach Pearson and Coach George, they've got the coaching staff to lean on.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Awesome. Well, that was a very cool interview. I'm really glad that Coach joined us today. I know he just got off a plane, so I really I want to thank him for coming on today and joining us. And I hope everybody enjoyed that. James, thank you for your vision and your expertise today. I enjoyed hearing your 5 guys. I think we gave people a little what for as far as what to look for in the draft. And we'll keep doing that, man. We could probably, get a little bit further into it. I think we can talk some positions, who our favorite guys are at specific positions. We already talked about that a little bit when we talked about our favorite 5 guys, but I think we could really dig in on a positional basis and give people an idea of where these teams that have needs at specific positions, where they might be looking.
And the funny thing is that's going to change too as the closer we get to the draft. I mean, heck, this week, the Devontae Adams trade, the Deshaun Watson trade. I mean, now we're completely revamping how we're looking at the draft. I mean, Green Bay is now going to be looking at a receiver where –
as well they should.
Yeah. I mean, does an Olave, does a Burks, heck, there's a handful of receivers I could see fitting in the Green Bay system.
Yeah, well, they need to get some help for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's no doubt now with Devontae Adams being gone, they're gonna have to add him some wideouts. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And they may have to. We're going to see some movement as far as these teams, because there's going to be some people that are going to need to trade up. There's some people, as me and you talked about, they're going to probably trade back because they have so many needs as far as Detroit and Jacksonville and teams of that nature. They may be willing to give up some of their spots to get additional picks.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's about it for today. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you again to Coach PEPE Pearson, one of the greatest running backs in Buckeye history and one of the best guys you'll ever meet. He's a really, really nice guy and a really good coach. And I think those kids that are at TSU they're getting good lessons from Eddie George. And
absolutely.
And I mean, as you mentioned, what are the biggest things you're selling? Well, one of the biggest things that I would be buying if I was a kid is these guys are winners. Eddie George, PEPE Pearson, these guys don't know what it means to lose. I mean, they won in high school, they won in college, they won in professional football. They've been winning their entire lives at everything they do. And I expect them to continue that. And I think these kids can learn how to win if they just listen to these coaches.
One thing before we go, I want to give a shout out to Coach Nadine Muzerall coaching her for her first national championship. Today, Ohio State women's hockey program goes against UMD, Minnesota Duluth. So good luck to Coach Nadine.
And good luck to Coach Michael P. Krzyzewski. You may have heard of him. Coaches for a little school down in Durham, North Carolina. It's the only team I got left. So I'm going for the Blue Devils. Not feeling real good about them, but that's all I've got because my Vols are done. It was kind of heartbreaking last night. I was trying not to cry in front of my daughter and not cuss because I'm a role model now, at least for one. So I tried to keep it clean and act like I didn't care, but I really do. And
are you going to be wearing St. Peter's stuff next week, though, on the show?
Probably not, but I am mourning a little bit today because, we won, the Vols won the SEC tournament. They looked really good in the first round. And then yesterday, just could never get it going, man. I mean, Kennedy Chandler played great, but nobody else really got it going offensively. And Santiago Vescovi are probably our second best, or maybe our best threat on offense. He just got eaten up by the Michigan defense, and I will give them credit for that because they made it a long day for him, and we missed him. We missed him on the offensive side. So, oh well, what are you going to do?
Yep.
I would say next year, but the way college basketball works now is every year, every team is completely different and has like 70% new guys because everybody either one and done's it or transfers. And that's what kind of makes me the saddest is I really like this group of guys in this team. And, you know, there's going to be 12 new ones next year. So, oh, well, I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad. Well, anyways, I do love college football, and that's where our focus is. So we can keep working at this. There's obviously going to be a lot to talk about, as we just mentioned earlier in the show. JT Daniels and now Emory Jones, two SEC starting quarterbacks, are still on the market. And where are they going to go? You know, are they waiting for an injury? Are they, you know, trying to figure out what's the best for them? Are they trying to finish out this school year and then leave? I don't know. I really don't, you know, we'll have to get them on the show and ask them because I'm not sure what they're doing right now, but those are two guys that are still looking for a home.
Yeah.
We'll see where they go. James, have a good rest of the Lord's Day, and I will talk to you again real soon.
All right, man. We'll talk to you then.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining. This is Man Coverage. Please go on to YouTube. Type in Man Coverage with James Bonneville or Knoxville Nate or just Man Coverage Nate, and you will find us. Subscribe. Look at all these unbelievable interviews because we've been bringing in a lot of talent on this show. Everybody can go and download any show they want at any time. YouTube.com, Man Coverage. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of the day. Adios.